Hello everybody, my name is Cameron Crest. Today I'm going to show you some examples of the query function in a Google spreadsheet. So a lot of people ask me, what is this query function within Google Spreadsheets and how can it do all this stuff that you say it can do? So I'm going to show you. What you're looking at right here is a spreadsheet which I'm going to be making available publicly. At the end of this video you'll be able to click a link and actually open this spreadsheet if you'd like. When you're done, this and the other spreadsheet that has the queries, they can be duplicated into your own Google account so you can play around with them by going to File, Make a Copy, and it will make an editable copy of the spreadsheet for yourself. So, and then you guys can have fun with these and try to figure out how they're working. But as you can see here, I tried to make this a little bit fun. This is dummy data. This is the source spreadsheet. This is where all of our data is going to be pulled from using the query function within Google Spreadsheets. If you haven't seen this video, I thoroughly recommend it. It's right here. It's a public service announcement about talking to your children about Star Wars. Great. Anyway, let's just examine our data really quick here. We've got date, hours, project, tasks, notes, person, and as you can see, these are characters from Star Wars, notes about different things that they did on tasks for specific projects, hours they worked on what days. So these are this is a bunch of timesheet data kind of all jumbled together, gathered from different timesheets and such. I have a query that will generate this from 16 different spreadsheets, but that's not what we're going to do here. We're just going to take this aggregated information that's listed in one spreadsheet. We're going to go over to another spreadsheet. This one's called the query source spreadsheet. We're going to go over to another one right now, and this one is called the query example spreadsheet. So the first query I'm going to show you here, and here it is in cell number A4. This query is generating everything you see on the page here from row 4 down. So without this query, I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to delete that, and you see that there's nothing here. Okay, so the query formula, let me just do a Control-Z to get that back. Okay, the query formula is right here, and I'm not going to explain this entirely. There's documentation on this, but I'm using another function within the query function called Importrange. This is necessary if you're going to grab data outside of a spreadsheet. If you're grabbing data within a spreadsheet, you can just put in your range, A1 to A whatever. But if you're grabbing something outside of a spreadsheet, you need to use Importrange. Importrange works with the key of another spreadsheet, which is right here. You can find the key. I'm going to go back to the source spreadsheet now. You can find the key right up here where it says key equals. That's your key. You just copy that over, place it into the first part of the Importrange, and then you need the sheet and the range. Sheet is always followed by an exclamation. If you have a space in your sheet name, you need to put single quotes on either side of it and then the exclamation after. So that is the range section right there, and I'm using Importrange. Then you're going to have your actual query. Okay, queries are very SQL-like. Okay, if you don't know SQL, that's fine. You don't have to know SQL, but they're written very similarly. Instead of referencing tables like you do in SQL, you reference column names. And in the case of going outside of the spreadsheet to another spreadsheet, you use COL 1, 2, 3, and what you're referencing here in the source data is the number of the column. Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put the numbers here so I don't lose my sanity when I'm writing a query. You don't have to do that in your source data if you don't want to. If you are not referencing an outside spreadsheet and instead you're just pulling from the same spreadsheet but say another sheet down here, you would reference the column letter. So you would, instead of call 1, you would just put, and you have to use capitals, an A. So you're selecting A, okay, within this range over here that you've specified. So this is call 1. This is a very simple query on this page that basically just pulls all the data from the source. So when you're all done here, you see the exact same thing as you did on the source sheet. Yeah, it's just the same thing. So this is, I'm calling this a clone query. I made that up. Really has nothing to do with Star Wars. It just kind of worked out, I guess. And the last part of the query that I want to mention is this over here. This is the number of header rows that are in your source data. So we're grabbing everything in the source from A3 all the way down to F, I think 2,000 or 100,000 or whatever. And we're telling it here at the end that there is one header row. So that just tells the function to take the first row and not, make it part of the equation, just make it display headers, for that first row of the information. Here's a much simpler version of how to look at the query. And as I said, there's all kinds of documentation about these queries within Google, but not very many explanations, which is what I'm trying to do with this video here. So let me move on. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. So this is a clone query, simple one. Here's a filtered query. It's another query just like the one we looked at, except for all I did is in the query part itself, I added a where clause here, where column 4 contains support and column 2 is greater than 3. So in essence, what this query is doing is it's pulling from that big list anyone who worked on a support task longer than 3 hours. So you can put a where clause within your query here, and you can limit the amount of data that it pulls back. It's pretty cool. All right, let's move on. So this is a person summary query. It's the same query, but what I'm doing here is I am listing out every single person and the sum of the hours that they worked. Okay, so same data. We're just having the query actually do some work. It's doing some summing, and you can see that query right there. It's pretty small. Select column 6, which is the name, and then sum column 2, which happens to be the hours, and then group by column 6. All right, so let's see here. Next one, daily summary query. This is the same thing, but it's got a little more specific data in it. It's grouped by day, so the granularity has gotten a little bit smaller. What we're looking at here is we're grabbing the person, the date, okay, summing the hours, and then we're grouping it by the date, then the person. So we go backwards. We go date, person on the group by, and then we're ordering it by column 6, which is the person. So what you get is a list of each person and the amount of hours that they worked on specific days. So if they worked more than once, like if Han Solo worked a couple of different shifts or whatever, they'd be added up here. That's pretty cool. Now this next example is it's really a testament to the power of this function. You see a list of people here, and you've got their total hours by day, and the dates are listed out across the top here. Okay, so the way you accomplish this is in your query, your select statement here. you actually you select the person, you sum the date, you group by the person, and then you pivot, and it's right there. You pivot column 1. Column 1 is the date. When you pivot a column, it puts it across the top, and it makes multiple listings based on the number of unique items within that column. And if you wanted to, you could wrap this column 1 in a month function, and it would take that and it would just list the total by month. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. And then of course you're ordering it by the name, but then I went ahead and put descending at the end here, so now you can see it's in reverse alphabetical order. Admiral Akbar's at the bottom. It's pretty cool. So that's another example. Okay. The last example I want to show you is pretty simple. It's well, simple to me, but it involves incorporating other functions in Google Spreadsheets alongside the query function to come up with what I call an ad hoc query report. A lot of the time, someone will come to you and they'll ask you to create a report, and at the end of the day, when you're done, they'll usually 9 out of 10 times they'll go, "Oh, thank you very much. Now show me something else." Or the answer is usually, you know, "This is exactly what I asked for, but it's not what I want." So you end up, you know, going back and forth. If you work in reporting, you know what I'm talking about, and it's just kind of the nature of the game. So okay, so I've put together a little report here that allows the user to come in and choose from a drop-down what information they want to see. So for instance, I'm going to select all here, and it's going to show me everybody who entered timesheet data that were working on the task of requisition from this date going forward. So each one of these is a drop-down. So I know a lot of people worked on testing. So we'll just switch to that, and sure enough, look at all these people that did testing on all these different days. That's pretty cool. Well, let's narrow all of them down to people that worked on testing from the 8th going forward. And it just updates as you go through here. And let's look at on the 12th here. Wow, you know. So this is a very dynamic report, and it allows people using it to, you know, kind of look at their data in different ways. And there's a number of different ways that you can customize something like this to interact with a query function. And I just clicked on the function here, and you're going to see that this is a big query function, and it's very complex. And I'll give you a hint. You guys can try to figure out exactly what it's doing, but it does work with dates. So there's some interesting syntax involved when you're working with dates within query functions, and you can do a start and an end date that you could choose at the top, and it would, you know, structure your query accordingly. It also wraps everything. It's actually 2 queries, and they're wrapped in an if statement. That's as much as I'm going to tell you. But as I said, all of this and all the formulas are going to be available at the end here. One last thing I'm going to say, I've made lists of the persons, the tasks, and the days, which are all contained over here in the clone query. Okay, and I'll give you another hint. All of these are using special functions. One of them is called unique, and one of them is called sort, and they're nested, and they're dynamically generating these lists for me. And I've applied data validation to these cells up here. I colored them white so that it kind of draws the user's attention to them. When you click on them, you get a drop down. That is accomplished through data validation, built-in feature. Just go to data, validation, and you can see that my criteria is I'm getting items from a list, and the list can be determined by clicking here, and you just select what it is you want to show up. make sure you have this click, show list items in a drop-down menu. So anyway, I'm just going to let you guys have some fun with this. You're welcome to email me. My email's up in the top right here. Hopefully I don't get flooded. But there's a lot more you can do with this function and other functions which you can only find in Google Spreadsheets. Have fun and have a great day.